Uh, Everyone has joined, huh?
Yeah, sir.
Where is Sunil?
He's here with me.
Oh, he has joined. Okay, okay. He is in the office. Fine, fine.
Oh, we have to go. Yeah, he's in our office. So
So
we'll
we
start, sir.
have, yeah, we can start. We have only, yeah, it's only 2 minutes late. So let's start it.
Okay. So very good morning to one and all. So tomorrow is June 5th and we are celebrating the World Environment Day as usual. And this year the peculiarity is actually it's the 50th year of the International Conference on Environment, which was held in Stockholm in 1972. And the world is celebrating with the same slogan, that is only one earth. So today we have a program from the Department of Environment and Government of Kerala, along with the Directorate of Environment and Climate Change, Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment, and the NVIS of Kerala. So I request the Director of Environment and Climate Change, Sri Sunil Pandi, to offer welcome address. So please.
Very very good morning.
Hari, you need to change the camera as well towards him.
Just one second.
No. Yes, yes, yes.
So very good morning, respected dignitaries and all the participants. So it's my privilege here today to deliver the welcome address. As you all know, the World Environment Day is celebrated every year on June 5th. So starting from the Stockholm Conference in 1972, it has been the tradition to celebrate June 5th every year as the World Environment Day, which has been the prime focus. The prime focus of this day has been the generating awareness with regard to the environmental aspects and also motivate action with respect to the same. So today, uh, in fact, the World Environment Day will be tomorrow. We are celebrating it today by organizing this webinar on the focal theme, uh, living sustainably in harmony with the nature. So that the focal theme for today's webinar. Uh, uh, Coincidentally, the theme set by the United Nations this year is only one Earth. If we recollect, this theme was there for the first Environment Day celebrated in 1973. So, because it's the 50th year, the same theme has been chosen this year also by United Nations. So, the only one Earth is the focal theme for this year too. And today, to deliver important address on these aspects, we have with us uh, Shri J. Justin Mohan, sir is from Indian Forest Service, 1999 batch, who is also my senior in the Kerala cadre, presently working in the National Biodiversity Authority. Sir has a very long and distinguished career, not only in the forestry sector, various other important sectors in the state of Kerala, and also, in fact, in some other countries too. So, Sir has initially started his career in Kerala Forest Department and later headed various important divisions in the Agriculture Department and also the Soil Science Department. And Sir has worked as a first secretary in the High Commission of India, Colombo, to coordinate the relief and rehabilitation and development of affected families in Sri Lanka. Sir has received various awards for his tremendous contribution to various sectors. The important Global Tiger Forum Award Wildlife Trust of India Award, and also the Wet Servers in Soil Survey and Soil Conservation Department. The department has received the Scotch Award for developing the mobile applications with regard to the soil fertility assessment. And sir has represented the government of India in various international forums, like the latest one being the International Convention on Biological Diversity, Montreal, Canada. So if I go on, I think I'll take more than 10 minutes time. So uh, uh, I stop here mentioning about the contributions of Justin Mohan sir. I welcome sir to this webinar on behalf of all the participants and the organizers. Welcome you, sir. To deliver the presidential address and also to formally inaugurate today's webinar, we have Dr. K.P. Sudhir. Uh, sir is from IIT Chennai. Sir has been the guiding force for the Science and Technology Department and also the Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment in the last 3 years' time. Sir has taken various initiatives to evolve the research and development of the state in tune with the needs of the various departments, also which meets the needs of the people at the ground level. Sir has been working on those lines in the last 3 years as head of the Science and Technology Department in his capacity. I welcome sir to this webinar on behalf of all the organizers and participants. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
And also, last but not the least, I welcome all the participants of the webinar who have taken their time to attend this webinar on very important theme, that is living sustainably in harmony with the nature. So as we know, individual actions matter more than what we generally speak. The actions at the individual level matter more than what we talk. So your participation is very, very valuable on this in this webinar. So I welcome all the participants to this webinar. Thank you.
So thank you, sir. Now I request Professor K.P. Sudhir sir to formally inaugurate the program and also deliver the presidential address. Sir, please.
Thank you, Hari. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Good morning to all. Dear Mr. Sunil Pamidi, IFS, the Directorate of the Environment and Climate Change, Government of Kerala. My good friend, Mr. Justin Mohan, IFS, Secretary, National Biodiversity Authority. Dr. Harinarayanan, dear participants, my dear colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Warm greetings to you all on the occasion of the observance of the World Environment Day. As all of us know, World Environment Day is celebrated every year on June 5th globally. It's a day on which we spread awareness about the environment and the need to conserve it. Moreover, it is essential to advocate for a greener environment and conservation of nature. It's quite simple. As when we conserve the environment today, the future generations will be able to lead a healthier life. We cannot be so selfish and use up all the resources for ourselves. World Environment Day is the perfect opportunity to make people aware of the issues we are facing and how one can contribute to solving it. Thus, it's quite important in its own way. As Mr. Sunil said, World Environment Day was established by the UN General Assembly in 1972 on the first day of the Stockholm Conference on the Human Environment, resulting from discussions on the integration of human interactions and the environment. The first World Environment Day was celebrated in 1974, I guess. This day is celebrated to successfully to get carbon neutrality, reducing greenhouse effects, focusing on forest management, planting on degraded lands, energy production through solar sources, promoting coral reefs and mangroves, developing new drainage system, etc. This day reminds us to strengthen the world and ensure that nature is preserved at all cost. It throws light on the causes which are causing serious harm to our environment. For instance, industries and factories are contributing largely to pollution. They are deteriorating the quality of the air that we breathe and the water we consume. World is gearing towards carbon neutrality. We know the greenhouse gas emissions have to be brought down so as to protect our environment from further deterioration. When I say further deterioration, it essentially implies that our environment is deteriorating. Several studies across the world point towards this observation. It appears that we are not really concerned about the energy conservation, waste management, and increased emission from the transport sector. It's pertinent to note that the carbon footprint calculations suggest us alarming statistics. More than 50% is contributed from the energy sector, close to 30% from the transport sector, and the majority of the remaining from the waste. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, has been assessing and projecting the possible changes in the climate sector, which started in 1990. They have now published the sixth assessment report, and all the reports till now, all the 6 reports mentions one common thing, that the change in climate is a resultant of the human interventions in the environment. We, for better living in comfort, make several changes to our environment and that impact us. The impacts are visible now through increased incidences of natural disasters and may become more predominant in future, which would have to be faced by our next generation for sure. I understand that there is always an apprehension on protecting environment by an individual in terms of what can I do or how does it matter. On the occasion of World Environment Day, it is essential for all of us to realize that every little deed matters when it comes to saving the environment. No matter how small a step you are taking to lead a greener lifestyle, it does make a difference. Because if everyone starts doing little deeds one by one, it will turn into something big. As the saying goes, every drop makes an ocean. It is true in this case as well. As there are a lot of diseases that originate due to unhygienic living conditions and dirty water, we must begin there. For instance, when water remains stagnant or unclean for long, various insects and bacteria start growing there. This results in deadly diseases like malaria, dengue, and more. So we must make sure to cover the tanks, pots, coolers, and more, which may become a breeding ground for such insects and diseases. Similarly, we have to talk about the issue of garbage disposal. Especially in our country, people litter around everywhere. It's essential to firstly dispose of waste properly and also segregate the wet and dry waste accordingly. These little deeds will make you realize how wholesome your life will become. It is not always about the money and luxury. The little fulfilling things and change in habits can also prove to be very effective. Thus, we have the World Environment Day, which serves us as a reminder to protect the environment at all cost. All the resources of nature from forest to oceans and soil to air, we must conserve. To sum it up, please remember that the gifts and blessings which nature endows on us are priceless. It is rather essential to conserve them all for a better future and life for all. Always remember that small steps will help you reach your goal. Once again, warm greetings on the Environmental Day 2022 celebrations. I congratulate the Environment Department, Science and Technology Department, Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment, Directorate of the Environment and Climate Change Government of Kerala, the ENVIS Hub of Kerala, in jointly organizing this event. We need to act and communicate about the environmental challenges we face and how we can fix them in order to meet our sustainable development goals. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Sri J. Justin Mohan, Secretary National Biodiversity Board, for the keynote address. Sir, please.
Good morning to the participants who are attending this government webinar. Respected Principal Secretary Dr. K.P. Sudhir, Director Environment Department Dr. Sunil Pamidi, Principal Scientist Dr. P. Hariharan, all the officers and staff of the Department of Environment and Climate Change, Directorate of Environment and Climate Change, Council for Science, Technology and Environment, and Envis Hub. Thank you from my side for inviting me to give this keynote address on the occasion of the World Environment Day. And thank you to all the participants who are attending this webinar, taking out your time on a weekend. So Dr. Sudhir wanted me to give a broad idea about this World Environment Day and the background of this day and the achievements of India and how India is moving forward in mitigating climate change. So I propose to give a brief talk for about 45 minutes. Then thereafter, if there is any questions, I would be very happy to respond to your questions. Let me just take you back to history before touching upon the Stockholm Conference from where this World Environment Day started. See, agriculture had been dominating the world economy till the 16th century. And people were very happy living their own environment. There was no pollution. But since 16th century, European powers started colonizing a lot of countries which are rich in natural resources, particularly in Asia, Africa, and South America. Primarily not to settle down, but to extract the raw materials, the biological resources available in these countries, which are generally in the tropical and subtropical areas. And there was large-scale destruction that has been happening since the 16th century. And with the dawn of the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century, the extraction of timber wealth by way of destructing productive forests has been going on in different parts of the world. And after the World War, when most of the countries got independent and when the UN was also formed, it was in 1968 that about 100 countries joined together and placed a resolution in the United Nations Assembly calling for global action to protect our environment. Because till such time, they were not knowing the importance of environment and how destruction of environment in one country can actually impact another country. So based on this resolution 1968, 122 countries come together at Stockholm in Sweden, which was popularly declared as the Stockholm Conference or the UN Conference on Human Environment, where it was decided that these 122 countries will take a pledge to protect and improve their water, air, and land resources. That was the broad theme under which this conference ended. And subsequently, it was also decided that every year, 5th December can be celebrated as the World Environment Day, coinciding with the date on which the Stockholm Conference happened. So this day serves as a awareness creation, not only to governments, but also to the citizens on the need to protect our environment so that there would be a sustainable development for the future. So Indira Gandhi, who was the then Prime Minister, had attended the Stockholm Conference, which also led to the formation of the United Nations Environment Program, UNEP. After coming back from the conference, the first law that was enacted by the Government of India as part of its commitment to the Stockholm Conference was the enactment of the Water Act to prevent and control pollution of water bodies in our country. Whatever pollution control boards, both at the national level as well as the state level that are functioning, are actually the outcome of this legislation. And in 1981, the Air Act was enacted by the Government of India, again as part of the Stockholm Conference, in which India had committed to protect all the three resources, to protect and prevent pollution of our atmosphere. And in 1986, a comprehensive law called the Environment Protection Act was enacted to bring in a comprehensive legislation to protect all the land, resources available in our country, all the water resources available in the country, and also our atmosphere. So it's a more comprehensive law, which was enacted just after our Bhopal tragedy. Apart from the three legislations which the government enacted as part of its commitment, we also brought in constitutional amendments in 1976, both in the form of a directive principle as Article 48A, that mandates the state government as well as the central government to take earnest effort to protect and improve the environment of our country and also to safeguard our forest and wildlife. Also, another amendment was brought in as 51G, Article 51G, which stipulates that it shall be the fundamental duty of every citizen of India to protect our natural resources, particularly our lakes, rivers, ponds, and also our forests and wildlife, and to show compassion to all living things which are living on Mother Earth. So with these constitutional amendments and the laws in place, several policies were thereafter framed, several schemes were designed, and then several projects have been implemented in India to ensure that our environment gets protected from the government side. But simultaneously, what has happened is, ever since 1953, when Watson and Crick proposed the double helical model of the DNA, there has been huge technological advances on the biotechnological front, medical front, and pharmaceutical front. This had actually increased the lifespan of a common citizen, not only in India, but other countries as well. So there was a silent exponential growth of population across the world. Coupled with the advances in science and technology, there was a compulsion to produce more. So the easiest target were our forest ecosystems, where countries across the world converted these forests into agriculture areas to produce more food grains for their population. In that process, what has happened is there has been a slow change in global climate, so what we called as a global warming, which also is also referred to as a El Nino effect. And also there has been large-scale extraction of biological species, leading to extinction of several species across the world. Countries also witnessed that several productive areas which were earlier highly productive either as forests or agriculture ecosystems slowly became unproductive. And it is in this context that in 1992, again these 122 countries which were parties to the Stockholm Conference, again they meet at Rio in Brazil. And then 3 conventions are born to take care of the climate change, to take care of the desertification of productive lands, and to ensure that our biological species do not get extinct. So the first convention which is coming out of this Rio summit was the UNFCCC. It's called the UN Framework Conference on Climate Change. The second convention which was born was the UN Convention to Combat Desertification. The third convention was the UN Convention on Biological Diversity. So we should be proud that India is party to all these 3 conventions. The UNFCCC, as you must be knowing about this Paris Agreement, which was signed in 2015. It's part of the UNFCCC, where the countries which are parties to this conference have taken a pledge to go carbon neutral, fixing their own targets. You must be remembering that our Honorable Prime Minister had recently gone to Glasgow and had declared that India would become carbon neutral by 2070. It's a very, very ambitious target. Our Prime Minister also went ahead and gave a commitment that by 2030, India would take care of 50% of our energy requirements through renewable energy sources. So every country was asked to give a clear-cut deadline when they would become carbon neutral. That means the emissions that comes, carbon dioxide emission that comes from the country, you should also take care that such emissions are also addressed by way of suitable planting of trees or shifting to non-renewable energy sources. So from a climate change point of view, India has done enormously across departments. So there is a biofin initiative undertaken jointly by the United Nations Development Program and various ministries in the government of India, which has actually mainstreamed the biological diversity in our country, which is also aimed at addressing carbon sequestration, so that the carbon dioxide emission that is going out from this country is also adequately absorbed by way of planting more trees. The second convention, that is the Convention on Desertification, we have a separate team in the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. There are a lot of schemes, both not only in the Ministry of Environment and Forest, but also in the Ministry of Agriculture, to ensure that unproductive fallow areas that are found in different parts of the country are converted into productive ecosystems through various government-sponsored, government-funded schemes. Ongoing schemes are there, where people who are finding it difficult to convert a desert-like fallow land, they can avail subsidy that is available in an ongoing scheme to convert those desert-like areas into productive ecosystems. So on combating desertification also, India has done extraordinarily well and has served as an example to the world community. Coming to the third convention, that is the Convention on Biological Diversity. This convention was formed to take care of the biological species from large-scale extraction by corporate entities. So the idea is that whenever there is a species which has a commercial value, then there is bound to be extraction by corporate entities. So the extraction should not be unsustainable. There should be a sustainable extraction so that that species is available forever. So the Convention of Biological Diversity was formulated with the objectives to conserve our biological diversity, to ensure that there is a sustainable availability of our biological resources, and to ensure that there is a fair and equitable sharing of benefits that come from these biological resources. And these resources and these benefits are adequately shared with the indigenous communities, the rural communities, which actually provide these resources to the corporate entities. So it serves as an added incentive to the people who actually conserve these resources. So accordingly, India enacted the Biological Diversity Act in 2002 and established the National Biodiversity Authority at the national level. Every state has a state biodiversity board, and every local body, whether it is a Gram Panchayat or a Block Panchayat or a District Panchayat, today they have a biodiversity management committee to take care of the biodiversity related issues in their jurisdiction. Both NBA as well as the State Biodiversity Board are vested with powers to actually function as voice for these voiceless communities which are living in the forest ecosystems by signing agreements with the corporate entities and collect a share of their benefits in the form of access and benefit sharing mechanism, and transfer these benefits to the communities who can use them for the cause of conservation as well as for undertaking various socio-economic development in their respective villages. So this serves as a link to connect both corporate India and rural India, where corporate India has got an opportunity to serve the people who actually give them the business, who actually supply them the raw material for their business. So these people who get this incentive as an ABS mechanism can use this in the way they want. Suppose if there is no ongoing rural development scheme for a particular work which the actual village wants, say for example, they may want a street lamp, or they may want to renovate a village school or a tribal hospital. So this fund serves as some sort of an incentive to utilize and take care of the needs of the local people. So in this way, we also ensure that there is a sustainable flow of resources. The people are also happy that the funds that are going to them are an added incentive, and accordingly the the communities, the tribal communities, the forest dwelling communities take an added interest to safeguard these species and to also propagate or cultivate these species in the forest ecosystems and rural areas. Now coming to Kerala, Kerala can always take pride in a lot of achievements so far as environment is concerned. We have recently, in the last 5 years, constituted this Harita Kerala mission, which has very, very noble objectives to take care of the environment of the state. I think no other state in the country has a mission exclusively for green cover. And this mission has also done extraordinarily well to regenerate our water bodies. Kerala can also take pride in having its own water act and has a dedicated groundwater department to ensure that groundwater is sustainably utilized. Not every state has a dedicated water department. Most of the states have a public works department which takes care of the groundwater resources, but Kerala can take pride that we have a separate groundwater department and a separate law to ensure that the groundwater resource is sustainably utilized and regulated both for industry and agriculture. And today, under a World Bank project, we have ensured that every nook and corner of Kerala has been digitally linked so far as groundwater is concerned. So sitting in the groundwater directorate, the director can know the movements of groundwater in different parts of the state on a real-time basis to ensure that whenever there is an approval to be granted by the groundwater authority, due diligence is taken while according such approvals. Kerala can also take pride that we have our own agriculture department to ensure that the groundwater particularly is sustainably utilized by undertaking various water schemes to ensure that the groundwater is sustainably utilized by implementation of sprinkler and drip irrigation methodologies, where a lot of subsidies is given both by the government of India as well as by the state government. Also, the state can take pride that we have an exclusively soil conservation and soil survey department to take care of our rich soil repository. When the Honorable Prime Minister of India launched the Central Soil Health Card Scheme in 2015, Kerala was one of the states which completed that project in a time-bound manner in the next 2 years, granting these soil health cards to more than 30 lakh farmers. And we went one step ahead when the soil survey department completely surveyed the nutrient status of each and every farm of the state and came up with the mobile soil app. Today we have a soil app. I think no other state in the country has a soil app where the farmer sitting in his house or in the field can know what is the nutrient deficiency in his particular farmland and what type of manure he has to adopt for every crop. So you must be already aware that a lot of researchers have proved that optimum application of fertilizers or manures have always given good production and productivity for any crop. And over dumping of fertilizers, in fact, has not only adversely affected the soil health because a lot of beneficial microorganisms get killed in that process, but also the yield also is compromised. So based on our experiments, we have found that optimal application of fertilizers have not only helped the farmer to increase his yield by 10%, but also reduce the cost of cultivation by 30%. So there is a substantial income earning for the farmer by adopting to an optimum fertilizer application in the agriculture ecosystems. So when we talk about environment, land degradation, large-scale dumping of fertilizers and pesticides in agricultural ecosystems have to be avoided. And Kerala has led the way, set an example to the rest of the country by following an optimum application of manures for various crops. And for this, both the agriculture department and soil survey, soil conservation department can take a lot of pride for coming up with the novel methodologies to help the farmers. Also, the state can take a lot of pride to have its own law to ensure that water pollution, water bodies are kept under check. Because according to the existing law, anyone who pollutes our water bodies can be imprisoned for more than 2 years and can be fined for up to 2 lakh rupees. So these are some of the measures taken by the government of Kerala to ensure that our environment wealth is adequately protected and guarded. We have set an example to the rest of the country to follow the Kerala model. And from the government of India's side, I think government of India has also been taking a lot of earnest efforts to help in protecting the environment and initiating new policies, new projects, new schemes in various departments that can help the overall environment of our country. So from our side, as human beings, proud of our ability to feel and think, we should always be aware about our actions, how our actions are going to harm other biological resources. Every biological species on Mother Earth has the right to live, and they have their own domain space to live. We as human beings have to respect every biological species, and we cannot encroach upon any other species, so that all the species on Mother Earth can live in harmony. And once that is followed with earnest effort, a lot of man-animal conflict can be avoided. You see, a lot of when environment is protected, we protect all the species indirectly. When groundwater is conserved, automatically water is available in forest ecosystems. Movement of elephants from outside the forest ecosystems to human habitats get reduced. Similarly, other wildlife as well. So it is in our own interest that our policies, our programs, our activities should be aimed to protect our environment and should be aimed to help other species also live on Mother Earth. And I'm sure that this World Environment Day can create that awareness not only to the policymakers, to the government officials, and to various institutions, but also to the citizens of our country and also across the world, to be more senseful whenever we are taking any decisions on any actions which actually impact our environment. I wish the Kerala State Science, Technology and Environment all the very best for all the other programs which you are organized as part of this World Environment Day, and also to the Directorate of Environment and Climate Change for whatever programs you have planned today and tomorrow, that all your programs have come out with good success. And from our side, from National Biodiversity Authority, we are always ready to help the state in whatever manner to protect the biological resources of Kerala as well as other states of India. Thank you all.
Sir, and now I request the participants, the forum is open, you can have questions if they need. If anybody has a question, you can just have. Even suggestions are welcome.
I think Hari, nobody
has raised a. Yeah, yes, sir.
No, I think nobody has responded. Probably it implies that no, they are all aware of the environmental issues and things. But then I doubt, are we doing right or not? Probably they are reluctant to respond. We can go to the next item of the agenda.
Okay, sir. Okay, then I propose the vote of thanks. Most respected President of the function, Professor K.P. Suthir, the Executive Vice President of KCST and ex officio Principal Secretary to Government of Kerala. Our guest, Sri J. Justin Mohan, IFS, Secretary to National Biodiversity Authority. Sri Sunil Pambadi, the Director, Directorate of Environment and Climate Change. Sri M.C. Dattan Sir, the Advisor to Government of Kerala on Science and Technology. My colleagues, dear friends, and all the participants. Indeed, everybody knows that June 5th is one of the most important days in our life where we have taken pledge to conserve or protect our environment. And Sri Justin Mohan Sir has given us the importance of the day along with the activities that has been undertaken by Government of India and also by the Government of Kerala during the last many years. And as well, we know that Kerala government has always been in front in protecting the environment, but we need to do a lot of exercise to keep it in that pace and see that we are taking more action to protect our environment. This year's slogan was basically only one earth and living sustainably in harmony with nature. On this theme, already we have heard both from the President of the function and from Sri Justin Mohan, and I'm not going to elaborate much. Now I'm just coming to my duty. I thank Professor K.P. Suthir, the Executive Vice President of KCST, for presiding and also inaugurating the World Environment Day celebrations of the joint program of Department of Environment, Department of Science and Technology, Directorate of Climate Change, Environment and Climate Change, KCST, and NV Sub Kerala. So thank you, sir, for being with us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Hari.
Sri Justin Mohan, sir, besides his busy schedule, actually he has agreed to be with us, and he has given a vast talk on the importance of the day along with the activities, what I already mentioned, or what has been taken, what the National Biodiversity Authority is doing, what has been done by the government agencies in Kerala and India, and also the importance. So thank you, sir, for being with us and delivering the keynote address. Sri Justin Mohan, sir, thank you from KCST and all other organizers. I thank Sri M.C. Dattan, sir, who is the advisor to the state government on science and technology, for being with us in the program, and also all the participants from various departments, Directorate of Environment and Climate Change, my colleagues in the State Council, the team NVIS, and also the Information Science Division of KCST, who has actually supported us in making this webinar a success. Thank you all once again for being with us. Thank you. So we'll close this. Thank you.